At the moment, everyone wants it and many cannot live without it. But what if I told you that in some cases it's there, but it lies unproductive and even toxic to existing and prospective inhabitants? And what if I told you that the land once rich in coal beneath the soil is now harmful to us all?
These abandoned mines, most of them are actually burning from underground. Most of them have got sinkholes, the ground just collapses. Most of them are, most of the time, have victims which happen to be members of the community. Dust emissions, and the worst part of it is that they most generate acid mine drainage. The water comes out very acidic, and it is hectares of land that is sterilized. It cannot be used for anything else except to say it is dangerous ground that emits gases.
The consequences of abandoned coal mines are far-reaching. The vanadium dumps pollute the air. The acid mine drainage renders water unfit for human consumption, and the unstable land surface and constant combustion underground make sinkholes a constant threat. All this leaves the land fallow and its inhabitants sick.
This water is dirty. Our cattle are dying. You can see the skeletons along the stream. Children even bath in that poisonous water. Look, it's white from this acid.
Many people have chest infections and eye problems because of the air pollution. Some even go blind and spend their money to get spectacles. These mining companies have done nothing for us.
There
is nothing they do for us. Children can't even go to school because they have to cross streams full of acid and waste. Even the water is filthy. We can't even drink it.
Experts argue that this has become a human rights issue.
So if we look at the early 90s, one of the focus areas for the environmental movement was the issue of environmental justice and environmental racism. And what they did was they looked at polluting industries and the communities living close by. And basically what you found is there were either very poor communities or communities of color. And this was a global phenomenon. So we found it in the US, we found it in Europe, but we also found it very much here in South Africa. So you had poor communities being settled near very polluting industries, which then governments didn't then respond to the health impacts, the water impacts, the land impacts of these industries on these people. And it's really sad that it still exists right now.
Communities are now up in arms. Makua is an organization which encourages locals living in affected areas to demand their rights.
What we are saying to the government is there is an alternative to coal. That is renewable energy. Renewable energy is when we talk about the sun, the wind. That can generate electricity, except the coal.
The substance you're seeing on screen at the moment may look like snow, but it's in fact harmful after effects of acid mine drainage. Government has tried to intervene on a number of occasions. Legislation requires mining companies to provide an environment management plan as an exit strategy for when mining ceases. Of late, they've built evaporation ponds to trap the acid water spewing from the mines and allow the metals, which are potent, to sink to the bottom and the H2O, or the water, to evaporate. However, unsuspecting children swim in these dangerous bodies of water as there are no recreational facilities in their areas.
The kids are coming from these townships, crossing the Brakspruit River. They come into the collection points, into the evaporation ponds, and they swim. But we also have to look at the law. The law says such a place should be isolated and it should be fenced. But at the moment, nothing of that kind happens.
Government's interventions are extremely expensive to sustain, and companies responsible for these dire conditions are now nowhere to be found. With new applications for coal mines being submitted by independent power producers scrambling to supply the growing demand for energy, it all begs the question, where to now? Ayanda-Allie Paine, Witbank, Mpumalanga.